as we transition to another game.
More.
But hold on.
One more.
You're like that guy. What was that show, Columbo?
Columbo? Yeah.
Columbo, he almost leaves the room and then turns around like, one more thing.
One more thing.
It's the biggest point. We changed the graphic, but Pete's allowing one more thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got more than one more thing today. We got like 10 more things and more coming to you. Kris Sims, Unbuttoned. Ahmed Fareed is here. The brilliant Ahmed Fareed.
Thank you.
He has never seen a movie, but he somehow knows that show Columbo like the back of his hand.
I love that show.
Did you really? You like that?
Was so good. That was a great character.
Well, yeah, he was a great character. I don't know if I ever really got into it to watch it. But, it's. I'm glad that, you're showing some versatility in life.
He was kind of like you.
Right.
He reminded me of you a little bit.
Okay.
Because he was a super smart guy.
Right.
But he didn't try to,
just stand there. And there.
No, but he didn't try to, be the know-it-all.
Right.
He was like, I'm a smart guy, but, hey, I might be wrong.
Right.
And let me just ask some questions. You might think they're dumb.
Yeah.
And he was the smartest guy in the room. He just didn't come off that way.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I'm the smartest guy in the room. I'll say that I'm maybe smarter than people think I am, okay?
Exactly. That's the same thing,
what I'll
Columbo.
say. And I'm not afraid to say if I don't know something, that's for sure.
Yep.
Knowledge is power. Gather more knowledge. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I tell my kids that all the time. Tell my kid, my son has a little bit of know everything, and I'm I literally will just say, shut up, you're 12, and you don't know what you're talking about. Just listen to the guy saying on TV. Because, he's sitting there Monday night telling Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, what's going on in the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shut up. I can't hear them, and I want to listen to them, and you don't know what you're talking about, nor have you watched this team play all year. I've seen you watch some TikTok videos, but that's it. But he's a know-it-all, so I have to tell him to be quiet.
Yeah.
You got to watch out for that.
If you can be the guy in the meeting or in the room that asks the question that everyone else is thinking but too afraid to ask, they don't want to look dumb.
Right.
Every room, every meeting needs that person.
You have to be that guy. No doubt about it. I was never afraid to be that guy, even in football, quarterback meeting, whatever. Just hey, wait, hold on. I just want to make sure I got this right. Right, and you go through it that way, and I do. I feel like there was always times where I'd have a receiver come up or a backup quarterback and be like, I'm glad you asked that because I didn't really understand what he was saying either. But people are scared. They're scared. No doubt
and
about
you
it.
do run the risk of every once in a while, everyone did kind of have
the
it. They're
dumbest shit ever. Definitely, yeah, I've definitely done that too.
You have to be okay with that. You just have to be okay with that.
Yes, right.
Risk reward. Well, I'm going to be asking you a bunch of questions here, but I know you have the answer because it is Treasure Hunter Wednesday. What the F happened Wednesday, a.k.a. You've gone through the tape on a lot of the games.
I have.
You've learned some things, and you've seen them with your own eyes here that maybe you didn't see or learn before. And so we can use these new lessons to apply as the season goes on and see how players are changing or not changing or what they're missing out there if it's a case of Russell Wilson. So you've gone through a bunch of games. Do we have a rundown? Should we tease them here? Yeah.
Give a tease.
The Chiefs' offensive play calling.
Yes.
You've been critical of that in the past. We'll take a closer look at that. The Eagles' run game took off against the Jaguars, a very good defense. So how'd they do that? Ravens' offense in the second half was not as good as the first half. Joe Burrow seems to be getting it in stride. Trevor Lawrence took a step back. Zach Wilson the first time on the field. Kenny Pickett for the first time this year or ever in the NFL. Russell Wilson and more. Wow, that's a lot.
We got a lot. I did a lot this week. I really did. And, not all. Some of it was quick film, basically played the hits or newsreeled it a little just to get to important things. And there's some that are definitely deep dives. But, one thing I realize is just that I spend so much time deep diving into some games early on in the week that I get into the end of the week and I'm like, damn, I haven't really seen that game or I don't have a great feel for that game. And then I'm playing catch up on Friday and Saturday on my days off. So I crammed a little bit more in on Monday and always grind on Tuesday and got some done here on Wednesday morning too.
So this is going to be knowledge dense.
Knowledge dense,
we're gonna
no question.
Keep a good pace here.
Right.
We're going to learn a lot in the time that we have.
Right.
So let's start with the Chiefs.
Right.
On offense, they scored 41 against the Buccaneers, who had previously been giving up 9 points per game. So how did they exactly do that? And you looked at the film and you just said Mahomes magic. All right, so moving on to the next game. No, you've been critical of them in the past. You say sometimes they have great plays, cool plays. Do they all link? Do they make sense? Is it part of a scheme?
Yes, right. Is there something they're attacking? attacking.
Exactly.
Right.
Did you see more of that in this game?
I did. I think I saw one of the best game plans I've seen the Chiefs have in a long time.
Wow.
Really, yeah. I mean, game plan specific. There was a real theme to the game, and I think they knew what they were attacking. And then I add on the fact that, this wasn't like they were playing, some crappy defense that's like last in football. It's the Tampa Bay Bucks. It's definitely going to be a top 5, top 6 defense when it's all said and done. But did some things that I just didn't know if they were capable of. I think that's the biggest thing, Ahmed. I mean, you hear me on a weekly basis talk about the Chiefs. You were in the room there, at least until you had to do the halftime part of the show. But I just think between the short passing game, not letting the Bucks pressure, anything like that get to them. Oh, they're going to play these zone coverages, finding out the right plays to throw the ball short and basically making it like, okay, it's zone, but now we got our guy one-on-one, like the first touchdown pass to Travis Kelce, right? I think it's the second play of the offensive game. It's quarters coverage. They run a play that's specifically for that basically ends up getting Travis Kelce one-on-one with the middle linebacker, and he can do whatever he wants. He kind of has the old jerk route we talk about. Touchdown, boom. And great play design to keep everybody else in coverage, not to have their, bright lights on Travis Kelce. They gave him a little window dressing everywhere, so the safety in the corner had receivers running on them like, oh, I can't look at Kelce or do that or cheat on the play or anything. So great design there. And then I think a lot of that throughout the night, let alone an RPO game that I'm sure they looked at from the Packers game the week before and said, wait, we can do this, and we can do other versions of it compared to what Rodgers and company did. But still, a short passing game that's effective. We talked about last week, right, where the Bucks D, they kind of want to have it both ways. Like we're kind of outnumbering you in the box, but we got this guy out here kind of shaded to the receivers, so you don't really want to throw it, but he's ready to fill in the run game in a hurry. And I think what we've seen the last 2 weeks is quarterbacks go, enough of that bullshit. Like, you're going to have to commit. You're going to come in here and stop the run, or you're going to go out there and stop the pass. And the RPO game certainly killed them, let alone the most dominant run effort I can remember from the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, that was going to be my question, is that what got them to fear the run? They were able to do it somewhat successfully, but that's really the first time they've shown that.
Yeah, it is. And I'm, you've heard me say before, like, forget the run. Don't even, worry about it, Kansas City. Just come up with more screens and more RPOs off of that, and that'll, accomplish the same thing the run game will, to get people to come up, right? And now we can throw the ball down the field. But early on, there was no doubt a plan to run to the bubble, right? The shade nose. Vita Vea's on the right shoulder of the center, and then there's nobody on the guard, and then you got a guy on the tackle, right? So there's that bubble on the guard. They ran plays at that early on. Block down Vita Vea, guys pulling around. That was certainly a thing. Little inside zone to the bubble. Bucks adjusted, right, a little bit. And that did slow down their running attack to a degree. They still maybe bust one or two more, but I think between that and then the RPO game, it was very special that way. And tactically just took a few shots down the field. That was the big thing too. Got them to come up. Oh, wait, now we know. Oh, we got them to come up. Oh, wait, they're starting to show their defense a little bit more because of our RPOs and everything there. They took a few shots here and there, a little, and then some Mahomes magic really made it a special outing.
What about those blitzes that the Bucs use?
Right.
Sometimes they can be pretty tricky.
Right.
Todd Bowles does a good job of that.
He does. I think, the RPO scares them. Throwing the ball and their ability to strike downfield scares them. They blitzed a few times. It wasn't as little as the Super Bowl was a few years ago, where it's like they basically didn't blitz at all. They threw a few change-ups in there, but they were careful. And I think what Todd Bowles has realized, too, is like, wait, why do I want to give these guys this opportunity? Why do I want to give, the chance of, we blitz and they throw a ball 3 yards to Juju Smith-Schuster and he breaks a tackle and runs up the sideline for 30-yard lines? And then the other thing where I'll always say with Andy Reid, no teams really ever expose their pass protection. He understands how to pick up blitzes, how to get the offensive line to work to pass it off, or this guy drops out, this guy blitzes. It's very rare. And I mean, think about it, where you see Mahomes drop back and, whoa, people are coming free, right? And he's having to duck or get in the fetal position. It's very rare because that's where Andy Reid is special. And I think that scares Todd Bowles out of it as well. But the bigger point is when they play like this, short passing game, tactical, RPOs, screens, whatever, And then what did we get to at the end of the game? All of a sudden we're dying a slow death. We got to start playing some aggressive coverages, and they hit a few balls down the field. That's when the Chiefs are at their best, and I hope they can continue to grow that. The story of the game was they played awesome on that side of the ball and just never relented on the Bucs defense really throughout the night.
You can probably tell how a game went.
Yeah.
By which team converted on third down.
Well,
and
that's the big thing
Chiefs
here.
did that a ton. I think Kristen, Pete, and Morgan, who's on the floor here, Gabby back in the control room. We have a graphic on that. Here it is. Weeks 1 through 3, they had 30 third downs. They had 17 third downs. So give credit to the Bucs defense. They did force a lot of third downs, but the problem is that they converted 12 of those third downs.
Converted 12 of them. I mean, I got to think that out of those 12, 9 of them were very favorable third downs where they were in like 3rd and 5 or less, right? That's a huge advantage. You know, again, when you have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback and that kind of weapons and you're in 3rd and 4, that's a win. And I think that was the biggest thing to me, that the things we just talked about, the running game, the RPOs, they were always in 3rd and manageable for the most part. You know, there's 2 or 3 where Mahomes, it was 3rd and 10 and he made some unbelievable plays or whatever else. But either way, when you get to that, you know, that down a distance, there's so many options you can go to, right? You know, 3rd and 3, you can run the ball, you can throw a screen. We can find a short passing game. Oh, wait, they covered everything. Mahomes can scramble and, it's just a 3-yard dump off. Boom, we got the first down. Or he scrambles and runs for 4 yards and gets the first down. And that's really what they did. And that's where, you know, again, I think the Bucs went into it going, I don't know if they can be patient. I don't know if they can do this. But they died a slow death, slowly but surely, and had to kind of change their way they called the game as the game went on.
So you mentioned it. You don't want the Chiefs to try to be something that they're not. But in this game, they did run for 189 yards.
Right.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 92 yards. Isaiah Pacheco had 63.
Yeah.
What'd you think of those two guys? And is that something now that you think, like, all right, they've shown they can do it against the Bucs, maybe they can incorporate it more?
I mean, they have the physical ability up front to do that. That should not be a question. To me, it's whether are they going to be stubborn with it a little bit. You know, run game isn't the kind of thing where you can go, we're going to run it this week and let me check my watch. Run game, we'll see you in 3 weeks. We'll come back to you then, right? That's kind of been their problem too. Or they get into a game next week and then they run the ball the first 2 times and it doesn't go anywhere and they just go, we're going to throw it every play. We didn't run successfully. So there's got to be a real attitude and stubbornness in practicing it. And then, you know, the creativeness as far as, what's the play that works for us? The big play for them this week was the block down, pulling lineman, kick out, and then they had the appropriate RPO pass plays off of that, too, to where if he didn't like the look, he could do that. So I hope they can do that. Edwards-Helaire is very good. You know, there's no doubt. I really like Pacheco. I mean, I really do. Pacheco has just got an attitude and a burst, you know, a little more physicality element than Clyde Edwards-Helaire does as far as I think he has straighter speed, and he's a guy, even though Clyde Edwards-Helaire he's got more power than, you know, you would think for that body. Pacheco is a guy that can really kind of move the pile, too. He's more of your traditional between the backs, like bell cow type runner. I saw him do that at Rutgers. He's capable of doing that in the NFL. But I don't think they're going to really be that team on a consistent basis. I don't know. We'll see where this goes, but it was encouraging. Run game, screen game, you get more of that, more diversity of that. I think it's going to make the Chiefs everything they want to be on the offensive side of the ball.
They play the Raiders on Monday night. What would be game plan specific against Las Vegas?
Ooh, that's a good, you know, I mean, they're very game plan specific as well. I mean, it's a New England-y type defense. So that's where, you know, again, I don't know what I would say there off the top of my head. You know, I do think that, you know, they're going to play a lot of coverage and do the same type of things and try to probably double Kelsey in certain situations that I would expect. That would be the New England-y Patrick Graham type of way. But, you know, off of that, again, Raiders not real talented in the secondary, right? I would still think run game and screen game can be very effective for them. I really would. Because I would think that they could stress out this Raiders defensive line that lacks big people and push them around a little bit if they, you know, can find that scheme or two that really works for them in that matchup.
You wouldn't blame them if they just said, whatever we did against the Bucs, let's just try to do that again.
Well, I don't think it's a crazy you can build on that and say, hey, this is what we are here. Let's do this a little bit. You know, let's have a little fortitude running the football with these little pass schemes off it in case teams overplay it and put teams in a bind that way. You know, I mean, they definitely can do it. And the RPOs had versatility. That's what I love, too. See, a lot of teams, they get into RPOs, and it's like the same thing over and over. And then teams start to realize, wait, we can stop the run and kind of stop the RPO at the same time.
Yep.
You know, but they gave, like, different ways to do it. There's a screen to Kelsey. It's a bubble to Juju. It's another inside screen to Juju. You know, they had 3 or 4 or 5 different ways to do it to where you can't, like, just pigeonhole them to, wait, if I play this defense, we can kind of play the RPO and stop this weak side run. Hopefully they can continue to figure that formula out. But, like, all right, last thing, too, because we're going to move on to the next game, right?
Yeah.
Like, Mahomes is unreal, all right? It's unreal, and he and Josh Allen are, like, the reasons I keep looking at it and going, like, passer rating, PFF quarterback ranks, and I'm not trying to disrespect anybody's strength. Like, we got to find a new formula. We got to find a new formula. We can't have the guys that are throwing like 2-yard checkdowns and not doing anything impressive of the week and then being touted as this guy was the best performing rated quarterback of the week. Like, get the out of here. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, nobody watching that game the other day thought Tom Brady was better than Patrick Mahomes, but his quarterback rating blows him out of the water. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just something I want to spout off. I think it's food for thought, where we got to figure out degree of difficulty on throws. You know, was the play supposed to be made? Have a better scale there? Was there plays to be made that we turned down and threw a 3-yard completion, but we got a positive grade for the play? All that, to me, is, like, out of whack in this conversation. That's all I want to say, and Mahomes is unbelievable.
All right, well, so as we transition, let's stay on that theme, though.
Okay.
Because we'll transition to the Broncos right here. And Pro Football Focus.
Fitting.
Pro Football Focus did rate Patrick Mahomes ahead of Tom Brady last week. They had Patrick Mahomes 4th.
Okay.
The 4th rated quarterback.
That's good to hear.
He was behind Geno Smith.
Okay.
Behind Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
Behind Daniel Jones. There's Mahomes 4th. And he was 1 ahead of our next guy we're going to talk about, Russell Wilson.
All right, so wait, say those names one more time.
Geno, Jimmy G, Daniel Jones, Mahomes, Russell Wilson.
All right, so
you agree
Geno
with it?
I can understand. Danny D, you know, there has to be something about he played really good, but he was 7 for 13 for 78 yards, right? There has to be, like, something next to it. Like, didn't ask him really to throw it, but we rated him up here. Right,
some good runs.
Right, great runs. I'm not saying his value to the team and trying to take that away, but when we're talking about pure passing, all right. Then you talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. You know, he's 3rd. Is that Jimmy Garoppolo's 3rd?
He was 2nd.
He was 2nd. Yeah, there's something wrong with that. He missed some of the most egregious big plays of the week last week in that game. Let alone his best play was an off-target 5-yard throw that a guy made a great catch and then did video game shit on. So there's definitely and I'm not picking on anybody here. This is throughout, even QBR, whatever, whoever's system it is.
You hate them all equally.
I do. I hate them all equally. I'm just saying that I wish we could all find a better way to quantify some of the great quarterbacks and what they do, because I think a little bit of, like, these great throws we see Mahomes or Allen make, we just go, oh, okay, great throw. Move on to the next play. And I'm going to go, whoa, wait. There's, like, they're the only 2 people in football that can make that throw. There's got to be a different scale for that. That breaks the scale, breaks the rating. I'm sorry. I know you.
No.
Now you're breathing in deeply. You're like, all right, move on, get off it.
We were going to be at a good pace here, but this is an interesting discussion because it incorporates the next guy we're going to talk about, Russell Wilson here, who you have rated as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL throughout his career. This is his first year in Denver. Had 2 touchdowns, 237 yards this past week. Maybe on paper it was his best game. PFF, I just said, rated at the 5th best of the week of any quarterback. How good was Russell Wilson this week, and what'd you see?
He makes some plays. Okay, he does. But are there things about his game that concern me that I've seen really now for 3 weeks in a row, right? And the big thing is not seeing the field well. Open receivers, reluctance to throw the ball over the middle, which you always hear me say. Too much watching the rush. If I had to sum it all up, I would go, when you really watch Russell Wilson, if it's not a one-on-one ball or if the first read's not wide open, then the play's over. If it's not one-on-one, let me throw a go route to Judy or Sutton, or like, here's a play and here's the first read. And if he's not, he has to be wide open. He's not going to throw it. And then he's going to just look to kind of move and check it down or maybe move and scramble. And that, is going to provide us some good highlights and provide some good stats. But there's still too many plays and your favorite phrase, lack of surgicality, consistently move the ball, get first downs, wear a defense out in their offense, and it's because of him. There has to be an adjustment made. Either he's got to play the game differently and start hanging in the pocket, going through reads, be a little more aggressive with the middle of the field throws, or they just have to forget all those plays and come up with a million ways to kind of go one-on-ones and have them throw the balls outside the numbers and play that style of football. But to me, it's, the Texans game, the 49ers game, and now this game that I've watched all have that in common. And, that to me, if people want to bag on the Broncos and the missed plays and Nathaniel Hackett, is he above, in and above his head here? And I want to go, he certainly has made his mistakes. But they're providing enough here, enough looks, enough plays for them to get some stuff done. And Russell is not playing his best football right now, for sure.
He's part of the problem.
He's definitely, he's part of the problem. He's not helping the solution. That's what I should say. Okay. Yeah, and I don't know if it's not because he's not comfortable yet. I don't know if he doesn't trust his offensive line, right? But there is more creativity in the offense than he's had in the past. And that's just something, again, I think we're going to do a few plays on social after this is all said and done and point these out to people. But there's 5, 6, 7 plays. You saw my notes where I just go, you're Russell Wilson. You got to see this. He's open. It's 3rd and 15. Everybody's open. Throw the ball. It's 3rd and whatever. 2 people are wide open, but I don't know. You don't expect them to be open, so you're looking at the rush, and that it's a little all over the place right now.
So how is he different? You noted this watching the games on Sunday, is that he is not scrambling, rushing around, because a lot of those plays that when he would go to his 2nd or 3rd read, it would be after he's flushed out of the pocket, right, scrambling around, sees this guy open. The fact that he's maybe not as comfortable doing that now, or not allowed in the structure of this offense to do that, maybe preventing him from doing the things he does best. I don't know.
Well, maybe I don't know either. Maybe he needs to do that more to kind of just get himself in rhythm and get going and just go, okay, if you want to be that guy, then be that guy, move around, do it all the time. But right now, I would say when he's moving around and leaving the pocket, unlike the old days where I used to go, oh shit, watch out. He's going to run for 20 or he's going to throw a 40-yard strike right here. I go, oh, watch out. He's just going to get out of the pocket and throw the check down for 4 yards. And hey, his arm is still incredible. He still has a really strong arm. And he certainly can make high-level throws. So, I don't know if it's the newness.
Yeah.
He's scared to make a mistake right now. Whatever it is, I just know it has to get better. And they're too good and too talented at receiver to be turning down some of the plays and throws they have on the offense right now.
Let me throw 2 things at you. Yeah. Could it be a lack of familiarity with his receivers, and that takes a while?
Could
I don't know how long that can take.
There's no doubt. It could be. I don't doubt that.
And a new offense here. And the fact that it's a defense that's pretty good. Maybe one of the better defenses out there. And so maybe that's part of the philosophy is just like, all right, don't screw it up.
Listen, that's...
While you're learning, while you're getting familiar with the receivers, let's not screw it up.
Right.
Is that possible?
It could be possible. Unfortunately, that's how he was raised. And I think that's why he is like this anyways. Because he was raised like, we got the Legion of Boom. Don't take the chance. We're going to hand it to Marshawn. We'll run a boot. They'll score 4 points, 5 points on the day, and we'll win 10-5. Like... I don't know why I picked that number, but I did. But that's how he won his first Super Bowl, right? And he had that beat in his brain. Hey, just don't make any mistakes, and we'll get a chance to win the game, right? And then he knew, okay, wait, I hit one big pass to Baldwin. I scrambled one time for a big run. I scrambled another time and made a big throw to, Doug Baldwin again. And shit, we're the best team in the NFC. That's really what they did. So that has caused, I think, a lack of sometimes him reading out plays, the surgicality in the offense that we would like.
Right.
And that's where it does have to change, in my opinion.
Broncos Mike Kane is worried. He goes, is Russ washed? Everyone seems to be piling on, but I don't see it.
Well, no, he's not washed. He's definitely not. He just, I think really, you explained it right. I think those things are real. Like you said, timing, receivers, rhythm, trusting the offense a little bit. Hopefully he can go through that. I don't think he's washed. He's not as explosive running the ball as he used to be. Yeah. But he's still effective and can move around. But I just think they got to continue to beat in his brain a little bit like, hey, you didn't need to leave here. Stay in the pocket. Look, this guy's coming open as your number 2 read. Stay here. Don't. Come on. Keep doing it. It might look ugly a little, but if he does it, it's going to make them better come late October, November, December. It's going to make them harder to defend. But no, I'm not ready at any way to say he's washed. And here's another thing that I think is leading people down that road too. See, this is, the problem when you play hurt as a quarterback, like Baker Mayfield last year. See, Russell came back too early from his finger injury and didn't play good the first 3 or 4 games. And then after, the first game, people just forget, the guy's finger was falling off just a few weeks ago. Right. And they just go, what's wrong with Russ? He's just missing throws. He's missing throws. Wow, Russ didn't look good. And then we get done with the year and they go, did Russ fall off last year? Did he not fall off? And then that carries into now. So now it's, did Seattle know that Russ was falling off, right? And we get stuck in this. And I want to just say, no, there was a lot of things here in context we got to take into account.
Right.
And let's wait. It's week 4. It's going into week 5. Let's see where it goes. But it's something I'm definitely going to have my eye on as we go forward here.
Well, they're going to play tomorrow against the Colts.
That's right.
What do you expect to see against that defense?
Well,
good defense.
It is. It's a good defense that, again, you're going to have to read the field and do that. They're not going to give you, a ton of one-on-one shots. It's Seattle 3, so he should have some experience with this. Gus Bradley's the D coordinator of the Colts, right? He invented Seattle 3. Russell got to practice against this, of course, a number of years. I'll be interested to see if he knows a few Seattle beaters that he brings to the game plan, for Nathaniel Hackett. That'll be interesting to see. It certainly will. But, this is a game where, again, I don't know if you're going to get a lot of one-on-one shots. You might get a few plays where you scheme up against the scheme and then, boom, you hit it. But you're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to go through reads. And you're going to have to be willing, really, when you play this type of defense more times than not, to go, 5 yards at a time here, 6 yards at a time here, 5 yards at a time here. Oh, we got a 20-yarder finally. Boom. Back to 5 yards here, 5 yards there. And that's what I kind of expect to see, certainly, because, I don't think they're going to be able to rely on their running game quite the same.
Without
Javonte
Williams,
special,
top 5 running back in the NFL according to Ahmed.
I don't think you're crazy about that. And then the Colts with that Seattle scheme always got 8 people at the line of scrimmage, and they make it hard, for you to want to run the ball on them with that look. Yeah. They basically play run defense looks where they're looking to drop out and play pass. That's really what they try to do. It's really Seattle scheme, in my opinion, in a lot of ways. So that will be an interesting matchup, and watch for that. Yeah. See if Russell has some Seattle beaters for the Colts.
All right, we can all watch it. Stream it on Amazon, the national game on Thursday Night Football. Our national game on NBC after Football Night in America starring Kris Sims. It is the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cincinnati Bengals. You want to take a closer look at what the Bills did to slow down Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And the Ravens, specifically in the second half.
Right.
Because that's when the Bills made their comeback, and they held, the Ravens to 3 points in the second half, or did they score at all?
No.
Was there no points?
No,
0 points in the second half.
Yeah, they went on a 20-0 run to win the football game.
All right, and of course, the infamous going forward on 4th and 2, and they couldn't get an interception that led to Buffalo driving down and kicking the game-winning field goal. So you saw the whole game. You didn't just watch the second half. You saw the first half and the second half. What'd the Bills do? Anything groundbreaking?
Wasn't groundbreaking as far as first half to second half. I think the first thing that I would say is the first half wasn't as easy as I thought it was on Sunday. When you take into account, the first drive started at the 4-yard line. The other touchdown drive, was Devin Singletary fumbling. So that was 14 points. They had a kind of an ugly drive, or maybe that ended up being the field goal. I might have them mixed up here. Let me just get to the score sheet here just to make sure I got my points correct here. But yeah, okay. So yeah, had the 12-yard drive off the Devin Singletary fumble, which gave them the field goal. So they had really 3 short fields for the most part to get 13 points. and put one drive together in the second quarter, which was the 15-play, 81-yard drive, where there was a little of everything. You know, they had a good run. Lamar had a great scramble. Bills got them stopped on a third down. He gets out of the pocket, right? Throws across the middle of the field, ends up getting a first down. I can't sit here and go like, oh, man, they had the Bills' number and they were tearing them apart. No, I just think it was, you know, some positive things. Lamar made a few plays and good field position set up by their defense more than anything. I think the big thing I came away with more than anything is two things from the Bills' standpoint. I think you saw, I mean, I know you saw my notes. I don't know why I'm saying you think this, but the Bills blitzing a little more than I ever remember in a game, and the Bills playing man-to-man more than I can ever remember in a football game, and really did a great job doing it. And the Ravens had a hard time kind of separating for them, you know, in a lot of ways. And I didn't really think the Bills were capable of playing that much man-to-man and having that kind of success.
So why do you think they did that? You think they did that because Baltimore's wide receivers don't scare them? They got some talent there.
They do. I think it's more the overall system. See, what I think teams like the Bills and the Patriots do with their man-to-man coverage is they have taught these guys how to read, even though they're playing man-to-man, how to read plays and route combinations, just like you would in a zone, right? Where, oh, wait, the slot guy's going out, so that means the outside guy's about to go in, so I'm not going to take the cheese, and we're going to pass it off. And I think there's some of that common knowledge when it comes to, wait, they're in this formation. If you see, you know, this receiver go vertical, it means your guy's probably going to run this route off of it, right? And I think they're very good at teaching that. So it's almost like the zone passing off, but they're teaching it through a man's scope. And because the Ravens, you know, as you've heard me say, it's a good offense. I don't sit there and go, oh, wow, the passing game is crazy, insane, creative. It's good enough. It's got enough to deliver for you. But I think the Bills were comfortable enough to go, you know, we like our chances, and we got to pick our poison somewhere here. And so let's crowd the line of scrimmage a little bit so one of their cool run game design plays doesn't expose us with, you know, Lamar keeping the football. And then let's also crowd it a little bit so we can, like, not give him lanes to run through and get a huge run on a drop back situation. To me, that would be the reasons they did this.
Yeah. So the gotta have it plays, I think this was interesting. You noted here in your notes, in cursive once again, which is every time I show it to someone, they go, that's actually really good cursive. So people are very complimentary.
Oh, thank you. Except for you and your wife, apparently. You guys, I know.
I've shown it to more people since then, and
I know
they've all been very complimentary.
I've never had anybody say anything bad,
except the Farids.
Except the Farids, which I got to question them now. I got to question.
And Pete, the gotta have it play, as you said. It seems like they want to blitz, play man right there, but you did notice a little bit of zone defense from the Bills when they thought that the Ravens were in run sets, or maybe it was a running down.
Right, like a first down. You know, first down of the drive.
Yeah.
They looks like we're going to run the ball. That's a prototypical, like, uh-oh, watch out. They might be, you know, dangling some cheese here so they can take the deep corner post shot, right, off a play action or whatever.
So that's why they would do that.
I believe that would be my 2 cents of my knowledge playing in the league, talking to friends all the time. That's what you worry about in those situations. Don't come out in first down where, you know, these guys have been on the sidelines going, hey, how can we this defense up here on first down and come up, play something conservative, right? Because that's the time when, you know, first play of a drive, cross midfield, second and short, right? Those are all prototypical offensive coordinator looking to shit on the defense and take a big play type of situations. And McDermott and Leslie Frazier are smart, and they know that. So they're like, okay, fine, we'll give you the 5-yard completion, but you're not going to hit the play action Rashad Bateman 70-yard bomb. So, you know, they had a good feel for that, as they always do. Their breakdowns must be phenomenal in Buffalo as far as tendencies and how they break teams down. But then, for the most part, in big gotta-have-it situations, they went back to, we're going to not let him run. We're going to crowd the line of scrimmage a little bit and try to not let him scramble. And we'll take our chances covering a crew in an offensive passing game that's, you know, not the scariest in football. And if we lose that way, then so be it. And that's kind of how they went down swinging.
Outside of Lamar, the run game really hasn't been all that scary this year, and it has been in the past. Nelly Mo 2010. says, hey, Kris, do you think that some of the Ravens' struggles on offense are because of scheme creativity or a shortage of elite Jimmies and Joes? The running game did get going a little bit more outside of Lamar in this game.
That's right. I think that when they're at their full strength, I think it's a good mixture of both. Again, am I going to sit here and tell you Greg Roman's, Sean Payton, Andy Reid, or Kyle Shanahan or somebody like that, or Josh McDaniels?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. But again, the offense is plenty good.
And he's been around a long time.
He's got plenty of checks and balances.
And what he does, he probably does really well. You've mentioned before.
Exactly
what Greg Roman knows, he knows really well.
And his run game is creative. It's one of the more creative run games in football. And it's well coached. Again, this is where, you've heard me say this before, and I think this has to continue to be told, even to our man Neil Moe 2010. They're built to be a running football team and then play off of that. So when they can't really play that way, and like we've talked about, running backs are getting there healthy. Gus Edwards still not back. O-line still not 100%, but getting there. I think that's when you're going to see them be able to tie it together a little bit more and go, wait, here's a run for 8. Here's a run for 8. Oh, teams are worried about a run. Here's a run for 6. And now we got to play action pass and things that look just like it off of it, and we're going to crush you that way. And now here we are in 1st and 10, and you're playing the defense because you're so worried about our run games going here again. Okay, we can call a play that's, really good. It might not be Andy Reid creative, but really good, and the quarterback we got is going to dice you up and make the completion and go that way. That's what they want to do. That's who they are. And right now they've had to rely on the passing game too much, like you've heard me say. They've gotten it done, but it hasn't been easy. And, of course, the quarterback they got is playing phenomenal football that way. So that's certainly helped them out too.
So which offense do you think is going to play better on our Sunday night game, Bengals or Ravens?
Man, it's the battle of a pretty good offense with an on-fire quarterback in Lamar,
right,
against a good defense in Cincinnati versus the boring, simple, we rely on our players with the most basic bullshit plays Bengals offense versus a Ravens defense that's not good anyways. So it's hard for me to say there. I don't know. That'll be interesting. I haven't really thought about it yet, but I don't know who I'd have more faith in. I guess right now I'd have more faith just as an offense. If we took defenses out of the conversation, I do have more faith in the Ravens offense.
Against a generic average defense.
If we just went generic.
You'd pick the Ravens.
Right. I would.
Because of Lamar, the Lamar factor, or overall? Just what they do, scheme, everything.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. It's hard to say that, too, because the Bengals, the talent at the skill positions is great.
So this is interesting. Let's get into
this.
But
they do them a disservice.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Okay.
Let's switch to the Bengals offense here, who did pull it out against the Miami Dolphins in that Thursday game where Tua got hurt, unfortunately. So, yeah, just continue on your thought here because this is interesting. It sounds like watching the Bengals tape, you got angry.
I did. Because it's frustrating. It's annoying. As I just said, it's a disservice to the talent they have on the football team, whether that's Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. They're not given the same advantages that some of the other good receivers or quarterbacks in football get. They're just not.
Is this different than last year?
It seems even more basic than last year, or they can't find the rhythm of how they want to attack or the plays they want to. They're having a hard time adjusting to how they're being played, and then now let's go to this group of plays. Last year, I felt like they had a great feel for that. There was games where I'd go, oh, they're not doing very good. Oh, he's got a feel for them here now in the third quarter, and they're just tearing them apart. And that hasn't happened in any game yet so far. So I guess that's where it's different. I never was just blown away by their offensive creativity, but said, hey, they got all the basics, and they execute, and with their talent, they should be good. But when they play a team like this and the Dolphins, who have talent and then have some game plan specific shit, everybody just runs straight or everybody just run the slant route is not going to get it done. And everybody just line up where we come out of the huddle against a defense that's very intricate and detailed, is not going to get it done. I don't care if you have 4 Jamar Chases out there. So, yes, I'm frustrated with the Bengals. I gave them a free pass in week 1 with the Steelers game. Okay, hey, week 1, you don't know. Steelers, like I've always said, they disguise, they do some different things. Okay, I gave them a pass in the Jets game. Just going, well, the Jets, I think the defense is a little better this year. They play, that Seattle 3. Sometimes it's hard to create plays, you know what I mean, and figure it out that way, but they got it done. But I was uninspired by the game plan there too. But I kind of gave it a free pass, and then I watched it this week, and I just went, oh my God, I can't take it anymore. And let alone, you're doing nothing to even make the Dolphins think or have to change anything. I mean, nothing. They doubled Chase early on in the football game, almost every play. It wasn't every play, but it was almost every play, right? And then there was no real plan to go to other guys or confuse them. And that's where it bothers me. Hey, you double and chase every play. At what point, let's send them in motion. Let's get them in a bunch. Let's get in a bunch, and now there are 2 guys trying to cover him when there's 2 other guys trying to cover the 2 other guys in the bunch, and they run into each other or don't pass up. There's none of that. It's just, hey, you line up there and run another slant route against double coverage or run another go route against double coverage. I mean, they had no answer. And I know people are probably got him what did they do to get the ball to T. Higgins? So this is what they did. They did nothing. He ran straight, and they threw the ball to him. They ran an all-out blitz. They threw the ball right to him, and he made Xavier Howard miss and get 12 yards. I mean, I listed the stuff they did, really, just to make the point. Here, I'm just going to keep going. Go route, stay pass versus all out, slant route, another stay pass on a play-action pass, a fake the flat route and come underneath and catch the ball against zone coverage. It was nothing special. And then he ran an in-cut versus Tampa 2 as the outside of 3 receivers, right? So they did nothing game plan specific to go, oh, we cracked the code. Nothing. And it's annoying. As a fan of Joe Burrow and the Bengals, and a guy that I'm sitting here, I like Zach Taylor. I want to root for the Bengals. I like their offensive coordinator, Callahan. I like them. I'm literally saying this because I'm hoping they hear this somehow and they can change their approach a little bit.
If you're a friend of Zach Taylor, play the podcast around him so he can hear what Kris just said. And you want to be off the hook too for when you put your hand up next to Joe Burrow and people are blaming you for the slow start. That wasn't me.
You're very
funny.
It's
the offense. The homies are very smart. We've said that many times.
Yeah.
Goal line stand 2. Notice something you were just talking about.
Right.
You go, I'd love to see Kris break down how the Bengals attack the Dolphins coverage with T. Higgins. It's a defense that originates from Belichick in 2014 using Revis and Browner. So you kind of mentioned how they really didn't adjust all that much.
Right.
But can you speak to the defense and the philosophy here that Miami Dolphins used against them?
They played he's right about everything he says there. One, they put their number 2 corner on Chase and had the safety help him out. There's a few times they went Xavier Howard man-to-man and took a chance. In fact, let me just emphasize this even more. As the game went on, all right, and I don't know if I'd really emphasize this. I think I did. The second half, I wrote, they stopped doubling because they just went, he only runs 3 routes, so we're good. He runs a slant, a go, and a curl route. That's all he runs. So we don't need to double that. Just be ready for those 3 routes, so we'll be good. I mean, that to me was like the ultimate slap in the face when they basically just started going, we'll just play regular man-to-man against your 3 dangerous weapons, and your plays are so basic. We've kind of coached our guys up to know what you're going to run in certain for man. Then we'll be good. Don't worry about it. That's where it was annoying. But the first half of the game, back to our point here with that goal line stand 2, yes, they went second guy, second corner, safety over the top of Chase. There was a few passing situations where, the long touchdown pass to Higgins, as Al Michaels and Herb Street did a great job of showing. They doubled Boyd and Chase on the right side. And then on the left side, just had the slot guy run a 5-yard out, and T. Higgins just ran a go route. And Joe just said, he's man-to-man. I'm going to throw the ball up to him. And there's no safety even close to over there, so I'm going to do it. But it wasn't like some cracking of the code. And again, that would be another instance where I'd go, what are the Dolphins going to do if you lined up in that formation and then shifted to some bunch? And they're going to have, 5 guys on 3 guys and trying to figure out how to pass across out? It would have screwed them all up, but it didn't matter. They don't ever have to think about it because they just line up and what they break the huddle in. But to the point, too, is, I think that's the way to do it in the NFL. I've said this early in the week, too, and I said this, I think, even on the post-game show, because the Saints did the opposite approach, right? Put Lattimore on Justin Jefferson and try to do things on the other side to help on Thielen and whatever else. And to me, that's just not realistic anymore in the NFL. It's not. Not with, Debo, Jefferson, Tyreek, Jamar Chase. I don't care who the corners are. They can't cover them man-to-man. They can't. There's no corner on planet Earth that can cover those guys man-to-man with no help. So double those guys and put your best corner on the second receiver. That is the way to go, in my opinion. And yes, they did do that. And even did that in looks where it's, you just go, how could the Bengals let them play this defense? It's bump man-to-man, and the safety is doubling. The one safety is doubling Jamar Chase. And there's no safety down the middle of the field against anybody. And they do nothing to capitalize it, nothing to stress them out. And as you could tell, it really frustrated me watching it.
That's going to be interesting to see him take on the Ravens because the Ravens secondary hasn't been very good at all.
No, that's where when you asked me the question, I was like, I don't know. There's some context to explain here.
Could make for a high-scoring game.
It could.
On Sunday night.
Could. The Ravens secondary, too, though, they'll do some stuff where they're going to double and do stuff like that. And if you don't move and get in some formations, they're going to have some game plan creative stuff to take away some of your bread and butter plays.
How will it play out? You can watch on Sunday Night Football, which, by the way, you can become a Sunday Night Football insider. Get everything you need to know every week with exclusive access to insider content, game alerts, free S&F gear. All you got to do is text Sunday NBC to 763-6222. I'll give you a second here. Get a pen. Oh, 622. Sorry, that was the wrong one. Although if you put an extra 2 in, it might still go through.
I would think so.
Okay, so
it's only probably can take 6 numbers. So once you get done,
but here it is: 763-622 to sign up right now. Participation is mandatory. So we do need to say that. If you just heard me say that, you have to.
You have to.
No, it's optional.
We come and hunt you down, and we beat you up. All right, so you got to do that. Listen. If I seem distracted just for a second,
what's going on?
Well, I got a text from Tony Dungy
just now.
Listening
to the live version of the podcast.
I don't think so. But when Tony Dungy texts me, I don't care where I am. I look. All right. So.
Oh boy.
And no, this is good because we kind of just hit on this, and this is, he must have saw in one of our sheets in our company that I was going to hit on the Chiefs play calling in the podcast, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to read this, and we tweeted it. Okay, so that's where he saw it.
You tweeted it.
All right. Well, I didn't specifically tweet it. We know that.
You said it, and someone tweeted it, Pete.
But he sends a text, and I don't think he's going to mind that I read this, but. He's going to hit on the Chiefs play calling. He wrote, I thought they were fantastic. Knowing how the Bucs were going to play them, they adjusted, took what was available in the pass game, created a quick game and easy throws, ran the ball, being content with having 17 third downs showed me something. They put away that we've got to get X number of 30-yard plays. I thought it was a great game plan.
Whoa.
Right, so... me and Coach Dungy on the same page.
Does that make you feel good?
Well, it always does.
It
does. But yes, I mean, Coach Dungy's got a great feel for that. And Coach Dungy's been a guy from really ever since I've been working with him has been, that's his question with the Chiefs too.
Yeah.
I mean, can they be patient? Can they have a short passing game? Are they okay going a quarter and a half without throwing a bomb or doing something like that? And that's where we've seen tremendous growth from the Chiefs over the last, year in that department.
If he would have texted, how bad was that Chiefs play calling, we would have had to redo the beginning of the pod.
I wouldn't have read it. I wouldn't have read the pod. I would have been like, I can't share this. Sorry.
All right, we're going to take a closer look at the Eagles, the only undefeated team left in the NFL against the Jaguars, 2 teams with a lot of big butts. So I feel like now is a good time to do the weekly Wednesday Big Butt Awards. Sorry, we're not doing Eagles-Jaguars yet. I jumped the gun a little bit there. The Big Butt Awards, Kristen was able to whip up a graphic in like 15 minutes last week, and there it is. Oh, now look it.
Oh, and it has the tramp stamp unbuttoned on the booty now? Uh-oh.
Yeah, this perfect trophy. All right, so if you were not with us last week, this is where I give an award to the defensive tackle and defensive end or edge guy who had the biggest impact this week, according to me.
Yeah.
Expert.
Who else is there
big
to
dudes.
be according to? You're the expert of booties right now.
So our Big Butt of the Week award for defensive tackles it goes to your favorite team. Dexter Lawrence of the Giants. 58 snaps. You know, I like that. I like the defensive tackle.
For a big guy.
That plays a lot. 8 hurries, most of a defensive tackle this week. He had 2 sacks, most of a defensive tackle this week. 5 hurries, also the most.
Right.
He was all over it. And if you noticed, the C on his jersey, because I think the Giants have 10 captains or something like that.
It's like 8 of them, I think. You're
his C fell off. They had to put it back on. So even despite all of that, was able to focus and have a great game.
Great. I mean, first off, he just watching the TV version, he pops a lot. He's definitely one of their best defensive football players. He's a guy that's never going to get credit, so I do love that. He's one of the better run stoppers in football and did not let, Chicago's run game just dominate like we've seen it do a little bit this year. That's for sure. And, for a big guy, he's tremendously athletic and showing some of that Vita Vea, who are the other big guys I'm missing? Fletcher Cox, Akeem Hicks, you don't have to take this guy off on third down just because he's 335 pounds. He regularly can push a guard or a center back into the quarterback's face, and that's where he's special that way. And plus, if I'm wrong, Pete, is this a contract year for Dexter Lawrence? So I would think there's some fifth year. For next year, he's 5th-year option. But either way, it's coming to that point here where he'd like a new contract, and he's definitely one of the better players on the Giants D for sure.
Sexy Dexy. He was your number 2 defensive tackle, according to Pete, in the draft that year. Probably to Quinnen Williams, I would guess.
Quinnen Williams 1, Dexter Lawrence 2. Dexter Lawrence was one of those, a little bit like Jordan Davis, where I was like, why is this guy nobody talking about him in the top 10? Why is he not a top 10, top 12 pick? And really, I don't think anybody expected the Giants to even pick him that early. I think that kind of caught people by surprise. But, man, when you're that big and you move that way, that's rare in this league.
You had him over Ed Oliver.
Yeah,
who ended up going top 10 to Buffalo, and he's outplayed Ed Oliver at this point. You think?
It's close. Ed's coming on here the last year or so, but yeah, it's close.
Christian Wilkins from the Dolphins are also in that draft. He's been pretty good.
He's good.
Jeffrey Simmons in that draft too.
Ooh, shit. Okay. So if I had to re-rank those, just why we're here having fun, you'd probably make. I'd probably make Jeffrey Simmons or Wilkins, or they're 1 and 2.
Yeah,
and then. Man, Quinnen's come on here the last year or 2. That's where it would get dicey.
They've all played well, though. It's not like anyone's super flopped.
It's not been a bust for any of them. You're right. They've all really helped their football teams for sure.
The defensive end, Big Bud of the Week, our edge Big Bud of the Week. I really couldn't go anywhere else. It was obvious.
Well, he's such a freak show, right?
Nick Bosa, 14 quarterback pressures. I mean, Matt Stafford was running scared. Why wouldn't he be? He was stressed out the whole game.
What's wrong with Matt Stafford? Can you explain that to me?
Nick Bosa is what's wrong with him.
They should get Goff back. Trade him. See if Detroit will take Goff for Stafford.
Bosa has 6 sacks already. I mean, Goff has been awesome for my Detroit Lions.
I know.
He has 6 sacks already. He's on pace for 25.5 this year. The single-season sack record in danger.
He can do it, especially if they have a healthy D-line. They're freaky physically, especially when, Armstead and Kinlaw are both healthy as well. And then, like the thing we talk about with the Bengals where we'd can you give these talented guys an advantage? D'Amico Ryans gives them advantages.
Right.
He gets in, you see the game on Monday night. They get in some sets where, there's 6, 7 guys in the line of scrimmage. You don't know who the blitzing, who's dropping out, and it creates, chaos and issues. Let alone, is there a better looking specimen in football than Nick Bosa? I think his ears have muscles. It's insane what he looks like. He's amazing. I know Shanahan's been complaining that he's getting held too much. That was something they turned into the league. But, yeah, he's on pace for, defensive player of the year type of stuff. He is such a pops every game in all categories, not just a pass rusher and everything. No question, one of the best defensive players in football.
It's usually a harbinger of the defensive player of the year. They get a couple of the big butt of the week awards.
Yeah.
And so he's already got one.
Whoa,
so he's
man.
well on
He's
his
on
way.
His way. He is there.
Speaking of big butts,
right?
Eagles have a lot. Jaguars have a lot.
Yes, they do.
Two good defensive teams. Got some guys on the offensive line too. So you kind of wanted to dive deeper into the Jaguars. We did that last week, too, and looked at Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson's offense, and you really liked a lot of the things you saw there, and then he totally ruined it this past week, although the wet conditions seemed to have an effect on Trevor Lawrence. But let's start on the other side of the ball, because it was the Eagles showing the ability to come back against a pretty good defense. I think an above-average defense in the league. And so I think that was impressive, right? Yep. And the Eagles have been impressive this year. So are you okay with starting with the Eagles offense here?
Yeah,
and what you saw here?
Yeah.
So Eagles offense, Jalen Hurts trying to rub it in your face for leaving him off the top 40 list. The Eagles fans are trying to rub it in your face. They never forget.
Well, he was in there this year, though. But he was not high enough. That's I'm learning that already.
Creeping up there. The ability to come back, the ability to do it with the run. Again, we've seen that before. Dominate in the run game against a team that I don't think a whole lot of other teams are going to be able to run the ball as successfully against. Were you impressed when you took a closer look at the Eagles' offense?
I was. I won because just first off, their ability to adjust. And the game wasn't pretty early on, and they still just show grit. They don't panic or anything like that, and then they adjust properly. I thought here was the thing that jumped out to me early on in the football game. I felt like they came out going, they're going to try to stop the run, so let's throw it. And the Jags came out going, I think they're going to come out throwing, so let's play pass defense and not let them get rolling that way, or we're going to be in trouble here. So they played pass defense early, and I thought the Eagles were a little stubborn the first few drives of keep throwing the football. And where you saw it kind of change a little bit was when they finally said, okay, all right, life is hard. They're pretty good up front, and they're pretty good coverage, and they're playing coverage defenses. We got to start to run the football a little bit. And to me, that was when, the game really changed a little bit as far as the Eagles and the momentum that way. I know we're going to talk about the Jags offense. So yeah, the defense gave them a little bit of a jump-off point with some of the turnovers and, the fourth down stops to kind of get them going that way. But I think that was the thing that, jumped out to me more than anything. They got the run game going and then dominated with it. And I don't know, Fadu Kasi, he must have got hurt during the football game because he didn't play much after early on. And so something must have happened there. And they wore out the defensive tackles for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the running game. The defense ends, you can't wear them out. Walker and Allen are studs. Defensive tackle, Roy Robertson-Harris, he's a good player. He's not a run-stopping, run-stuffer type of guy. He got pushed around a little bit, and so did the rest of the group there, that was playing. And that was really where the game turned, in my opinion, was the running attack. And then once they got that going, Jalen makes his handful of big throws to really now you go, oh, gosh, they got it going, and where do you stop it from there?
He put him behind the 8 ball a little bit with a pick six early on to your guy, Andrew Sisko, who you noted looks really fast.
Really
fast,
the other way, no doubt about it.
He definitely did. You said bad decision there. But from that point forward, a lot of running, a lot of screens, quick passes, kind of a lot of the same notes, it seems like, from the Chiefs game plan almost. It was just like short stuff, quick stuff.
Yeah.
What'd you see from Hurts?
Well, Hurts played really good. I mean, his running, the screens, run game overpowering, and like I said, versus the pass looks, that was a real thing there. But I thought really after that first mistake, maybe forced another ball or two. Other than that, it was a pretty clean football game. It was. And then, they get them into, okay, now we're running the ball with a little success here. And, we got a one-on-one. We got a little play action. We got a slant here to A.J. Brown. And they start to carve you up that way. And they pretty much start to have their way with whatever they want to do there. But Hurts looked good. It was not a Hurts game to where you come away just going, oh, man, he was the showcase. The showcase of the game was their running game. That was like the best pure running game I think they've showed all year. Minus, Hurts' big runs or scrambles are that way. Truly, with the running back between the tackles was really, really impressive that way.
134 yards for Miles Sanders. So can they, if they can do that against the Jaguars, you noted maybe they had some injuries on that defensive front. but the offensive line for the Eagles has been good for a while.
Right.
But we've been saying that with the Colts, too. And we saw it with the Dallas Cowboys. At a certain point, sometimes those guys, Jason Kelce's been around a long time, fade a little bit or fall off.
I know.
No indication of that so far?
Well, not from him. And the good thing is, I mean, they drafted a center in the second round to take over. That's where they've almost, Lane Johnson's nowhere near the end.
Yeah.
Mulata at left tackle's nowhere near the end. The guard, Landon Dickerson, it's just the second year out of Alabama. He's there for a while. Isaac Siamolo, excuse me, I'm sorry, I know I'm butchering that. He's still got a number of good years left from him that way. So that's where you just look at it and just go, no, there's no weakness across the board. It really isn't. And, I said it, just that to me was the big thing. It's like the game got to 14-7, right, where Hurts on that one drive, they make it 14-7, all right? He hits, a little screen to 11, hits a pass to Goddard, and then it's like, here we go, all right? And then the big plays of that drive, let me just explain this to put a little context in it, because they had 3rd and goal at the 16, right? And they let Hurts scramble up the middle 2 times in a row for a touchdown. And Hurts, I mean, the second one, to lower his shoulder the way he did against, Devin Lloyd was very impressive. I mean, it really is. What a tough sucker he is, definitely. All right? But that was the big thing. And then it seems like on the next drive, they were like, okay, wait. What are we doing? Why are we trying to keep passing the ball here? Let's start running the football. And at the end of the half, I don't know, Pete, I thought I heard you say a number. I mean, it was almost like they ran the ball every play. The Gotsis, the D tackle, Hamilton, 52, they were absolutely getting dominated at defensive tackle. That's where I asked, where is Fadukasi? And I think Roy Robertson-Harris was out for the drive, just taking a break. And then that, along with, some of the moving parts they have behind the line of scrimmage, I think confused the linebackers a little bit at times, where they were supposed to be in this gap, but, oh, wait, the running back went this way or this guy went this way, and they take the wrong step and they're out of position, and that caused them a little bit. But, yeah, the O-line took over the football game, I guess is what I'm really trying to say more than anything here in this one for the Eagles.
Eagles defense, too, you were critical of a little bit early on in the season, just weren't special enough, weren't doing enough things to confuse the offenses out there. You did note that they're doing more on D for Philly as we switch over to that side of the ball than they have maybe the first couple weeks of the season. Is that right?
There's no doubt about that. There was more. I think there was honestly a little bit of. I saw a little more creativity against Washington, and in this game, I think they basically realized, like, wait, we got to mix it up. They're too good. They're gonna have their way with us if we just get in. We're playing quarters. They're gonna run the ball, or hey, we're down here playing man to man, and they're going to throw the ball.
So they respected the Jags' offense.
I got the sense that they respected the Jags' talent across the board, really. I did. And, yeah, that was, I think, the thing that I was there was more everything. More looks, more disguises, more blitzes, just more schemes altogether. I think that was the big thing that jumped out to me. They get the pick six. They put together a good drive. Trevor had a few third down conversions. There was one good run, and that's it. And there they are, 14-0. But that's when the wheels kind of fell off. And the wheels fell off, one, because the Eagles' defense started to do some creative things, and two, because Trevor Lawrence he had the worst game we've seen him have in a little while. That's for sure.
1 week after praising,
I know, right? It's like it's like you get the Big Butt Award. You get it, you think you've made it, and you kind of let off the gas pedal a little bit.
Well, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like the going gets tough, right? Let's see you do it in a game where it's rainy and you got a good defense and you got the only undefeated team left in the NFL. And when things started to go bad, it snowballed for Trevor Lawrence. It did seem like he had trouble gripping the football.
It definitely did, and there's no question about that. It affected some of his throws, not greatly, but enough to where I go, I don't think that ball came out of his hand totally clean or totally with the power that he wanted it to, right? And early on, like, you could tell the big butts were on the field for the Eagles to start the game, which told me that they respected the size and power and physicality of the Jags offensive line there, and they were going to stop the run. Left them a lot of good looks in the pass game. And, to me, hey, we talked about the turning point a little bit the other day. It's 14-0. right? It's first down. The Eagles are playing the five-man front. They have a double move by Agnew on the outside. He's there. He's gone. It's a touchdown. Lawrence misses him, but misses him because he's got Jordan Davis breathing down his neck too. So he's got to throw the ball a little, quicker than he wants. I mean, that was a big play of the game for me to go, ooh, if Jordan Davis isn't there, who knows what happens here? And this game could be 21-0. Then we go 2 plays, then we get to the 4th down, and that's where Trevor drops the football. And he's got a completion or a run probably for the first down. Either way, definitely has a completion in the flat, doesn't get that. And really, the game was never the same after that point on.
You thought that the Jags were able to run against the 4-man front. As soon as the Eagles went to that 5-man front, they didn't have a chance.
No chance at all. Absolutely not. It's just when you put Reddick and Brandon Graham on the edges, those type of players, or Sweat opposite of Hassan Reddick, and then you got the 3 big asses, the 6 cheeks there. Like, good luck. I don't care who you are. You're not going to be able to move the ball. But, yeah, I thought there was, a sign of respect with the Eagles on that side of the ball to go, wait, they pose some problems with us. We can't just line up and say, we're better than you and we're going to beat you. And I thought that was kind of cool to see, too. And I just looking through.
Do you think their speed gets underrated a little bit for the Eagles defense?
I do.
We talk about the big butts,
right.
But they're pretty fast.
They are fast. I think when you talk about the safety position a little bit, the second level guys, I think that would jump out to me, Ahmed. I'm glad you led me down this road a little bit. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who they traded for the Saints, he's kind of their nickel or safety guy in the box sometimes. He, of course, is incredibly aggressive and fast. And then the 2 linebackers, Kazir White, who, had been with the Chargers for years, and Gannon, who was with the Chargers and then went to the Colts, I'm sure has knowledge of him. And then TJ Edwards out of Wisconsin, they can run too. And to me, really, that's what takes a defense from fast to really fast, is when the linebackers and the down safety are fast. That's when we start to go, whoa, their defense is really fast, right? Like, think about it. Like all the defenses in football, we say that about the 49ers. Oh, wait, they got Greenlaw and Fred Warner,
yeah.
Right, fast as hell, with Hufanga as their guy that's down in the box, right, fast as shit, right? You talk about the Bucks. Oh, it's Levante David, a Devin White, and the guy they bring down, Antoine Winfield, he can fly, right? So that's really, when you talk about fast defenses, it usually is that aspect of the defense that takes you over the top, where you start to go, whoa, they can fly, and they're a special group right there.
Is this just part of the learning process for Trevor? It's just like he's going to have games like last week where you're praising him, everything looks in sync, everything's flowing, and then he has games where it's rainy, things aren't going quite right, and he reverts back.
Yeah, I think this is part of the growing pains of the Jags a little bit, whether it's, the drop ball, the game's 14-14, and we fumble a quarterback snap, right? And then you get a 35-yard drive for a touchdown. Like, that can't happen. Or, wait, I have 2 wide open people and we're in the red zone and I throw an interception. That can't happen. Right. So, yeah, I think it's just a learning process. I do. I don't look at it and go, oh, I'm concerned, but also just awareness of the game, the situation. Wait, their defense is really good and they're being creative. I can't just sit here in the pocket and be so focused downfield. I have no feel for Hassan Reddick coming around the edge and getting me when they're rushing 5 or maybe even 6 sometimes, right? I think those are things that he learns from and gets better as we go along here.
Jaguars got the Texans coming up. Eagles at Arizona. Every game we look at now, we're like, oh, can they beat the Eagles? Can they be the team to pop the corks for the Miami Dolphins' undefeated season?
Who the Eagles got this week?
Cardinals.
I doubt it. All right, and then the Jags this week. I know. I'm just looking at it. They got the Texans. Right. So
they get back on track?
I would think so. I really do think so. I'm still a believer in the Jags. Game 1, hey, you lose that. This was a different animal they had to play against, and it was a learning experience. But there's still like positives too.
Yeah.
Like I said. When you said it, like when they played 4-man fronts, the Jags ran the ball on them. They had to adjust their way they play. You don't see the Eagles adjust like that a whole lot. But, yeah, all in all, I think it's just one where hopefully they get a little bit, more battle-tested and tough and and become a better football team when you talk about Jacksonville. We know Philly's a good team. They're the best team in football.
All right, we're going to get into Zach Wilson, what you saw from him, your original man crush before the Jacksonville Jaguars got so good this year. Kenny Pickett as well, his first start in the NFL. But first, we want to do some quick hitters. Here's some games that you watched, some of them on just TV. You didn't dive into the film, but you just got a good feel, a better feel now for them. So quick hitters on the Indianapolis Colts, who lost to the Titans 24-17. Quick take on Matt Ryan. What's going on here? What's wrong?
Well, they're just a mistake-riddled offensive football team right now.
So it goes beyond Matt Ryan.
Well, it does a little bit. I mean, the offensive line stinks, right? I don't think their pass game scares anybody as of right now, with lack of big plays down the field. And that's where the Matt Ryan conversation comes into it a little bit, because I think his lack of arm power is part of that problem there. You know, frail, gets hit, fumbles a little too much right now. Frail, yeah. It's frail looking. I know I'm not the only person in football that thinks that. I've gotten like 5 texts through the first 4 weeks ago. Does Matt Ryan look too skinny to you? Yes, he does. Like I said on Monday, I'd rather see him be 10 pounds heavier and have some armor and have some more strength in his arm rather than this right here where I go, I don't know. You're not any faster. But, yeah, I think that's a concern for this Colts football team. This was a game that when I got done watching it, you kind of sit there and go, I don't know how I feel about either team.
Really?
There were some positive signs for the Titans that they got things going for sure, but even them, mistakes they make. It just was kind of an ugly football game. But the Colts are mistakes every week right now.
You got to be worried more about the Colts than the Titans after watching that.
Definitely. The Titans are closer for sure. The Colts are getting whooped up front, and even in this game where I thought, their defense should be able to slow down the Titans' running game. They weren't unable to. The Titans showed some signs of us going, ooh, they look like the old Titans. Now, it just wasn't consistent through the game. But, yeah, whether it's the lack of run game, butt kicked up front by the Colts, Ryan not looking all that great. There's just not a lot to write home right now about the Indianapolis Colts.
Over with the Titans, Lucas Seifert says, hey, Kris, have you figured out why the Titans are so crap in the second half? He didn't say crap.
Yeah.
But I did.
Well,
also, what's wrong with our secondary?
Right.
Double question.
Second half, I feel like my assessment would be that teams get in the second half and they sell out to stop Derrick Henry a little bit more. Like, it's the second week in a row where we kind of saw success in the first half of Derrick Henry against the Raiders. We saw it in this game. We kind of saw it in the Giants game early on this year, too. And I feel like they, in the second half, go, okay, wait, what are they doing to beat us? Oh, we're getting beat by that guy. And teams kind of play we're going to put one more egg in the stop the run basket, and we'll take our chances with the pass game. And the Titans just don't have a pass game enough right now to scare you or anybody that scares you that way. So I think that's where I go to it. And again, they're doing their best to make it better. They've infused Derrick Henry in the pass game a little bit more the last few weeks, but there's only so many ways they can get him the ball. Tannehill, I thought for the most part really looked good. But, yeah, when it becomes, oh, no, our running game is not effective at all, they can't rely on their pass game to kind of hold down the fort or continue to move the football down the field. And that, to me, is their biggest issue right now. Secondary, I guess pass rush not as dominant as I would have expected. And really, I guess the other thing that I would say, it's hard to say. Maybe too many different coverages, trying to do too much on the back end. Maybe they need to simplify it to a degree. I just feel like, whether it was the Bills game, the Giants game, they find ways to make plays through their game planning against them. And they seem, a little too easy to pick apart at times. And I think that's a little concerning as well.
Yeah, so a win for the Titans, but still some concerning aspects for them, even more so for the Colts. I think the Washington Commanders got a lot of concerning things going on with that football team right now. Not least of which they just lost to a division rival in the Dallas Cowboys 25-10. Real quick on the Dallas Cowboys offense here. Cooper Rush has been getting a lot of praise.
Right.
Well, deservedly so. You step in as a backup quarterback. You run the offense to the point where some people are saying, like, man, we're looking better than we did with Dak Prescott.
Yeah, stop.
What do you say to those people?
I would really say stop, and then you need to be drug tested for serious drugs.
So not only just stop what you're saying, but go to a medical clinic.
Go to the medical center, go to the Quest Diagnostic Center and get drug tested. Yeah. Like, stop.
Yeah, because you think they'll find something.
Well, this is like my point here with this. See, they're giggling. They liked it. They liked it up there. Not you two. You two don't get drug tested. You're good.
Played well to the audience here.
But first off, if Dak Prescott had the stat line Cooper Rush had the last 3 weeks, we'd go, what's wrong with Dallas and Dak Prescott, right? But because the expectations are low and we didn't expect them to even win some of these games, now we're going to give them, steady here. And he's a franchise quarterback. Sorry, I know you weren't expecting that to come out of my mouth right there.
Yeah.
So that to me is it's misconstrued that way. Now, hey, they've been favorable with the schedule, right? I mean, the Bengals reeling week 2, not what we think they're going to be. You got to play the Giants, right? I mean, the Giants, yes, I know we're 3-1, but I don't think any of us sit here and expect them to be like, the Giants are in the battle for the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even expect I expect it to go the wrong way at some point here, all right? And then the Commanders are also like one of the teams you'd look at and go, they're kind of a disaster.
It's one of those things where without the Dallas Cowboys defense, we probably would not be talking about Cooper Rush right now.
They're going to need Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
These matchups have been favorable to where they could play this balanced style of football. They don't need to rely on the offense to really push the envelope or make any of the plays in any of these games. And the defense has been phenomenal, and that's the 2 cents. I mean, Dan Quinn, again, I've given him a lot of praise this week just because it's 2 weeks in a row I've watched them on film and just gone, man, they do a lot of different stuff, right? They're creative, and their defensive line has more talent than I gave them credit for, and their secondary is really good in all aspects, especially covering man-to-man. But, like, in this game alone, this game was 7-6 Washington. Okay, with 1 minute and 30 seconds left in the first half. And Washington couldn't do anything. But we're ready to name Cooper Rush the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. And that's where I just want to go. We've all gone insane in sports media or anybody that has a Twitter handle or anything like that. And then he threw 2 pitiful interceptions in the game, but got lucky that there was a penalty on the other side of the field. It wasn't like interceptions of like, oh, that guy that intercepted it held the receiver, and that's why I got it. It was like no one would have known it was a penalty on the other side of the field unless the flag went down. Had nothing to do with the play. He just had a shamrock up his ass, and the play got wiped out. So, I was there in person for the Giants last week. There was a lot of plays to be had that didn't get delivered on, and that game shouldn't have been a 1-score game. So that's where I want to say, everybody be quiet. Dak Prescott is at another level, and at some point, and that's why don't bring him back this week if he's not 100%. As they go down the stretch, they're not going to be able to continue to win games just like this, running the ball for 49 yards and, defense being dominant and okay. I just made the plays where the guys were wide open. They're going to need more than that, and that's where Dak Prescott's going to come in very handy for their football team when all said and done.
One thing about the Commanders, I Won the Mums asks, who is the bigger problem for the Commanders, the defensive coordinator, Jack Del Rio, or the offensive coordinator, Scott Turner? Or I'll give you this option, the players.
All right, so for Scott Turner, I think it's more of the offensive line players.
Yes.
I don't look at it and go, oh, man. I just go, their offensive line, they can't block anybody on a weekly basis. You don't have to trick it up or do anything. It's just like, here's DeMarcus Lawrence, here's Micah Parsons, and your guy's going to get his ass kicked. So it's hard for me to always fault Scott Turner there. And then they can't run the ball either because they get their ass kicked in that department too. So,
not much he can do.
There's not much he can do. He's a little handcuffed. On the other side, there is stuff he can do. I mean, they have, 3 first-rounders on the D-line? A first-round linebacker? I mean, there's enough talent to go around to where they should not look the way they look. That's for sure. And, yeah, that's – so there's my Dust up Del Rio is the problem. Okay, that's the problem.
I had a feeling that might be coming.
Yeah, you knew that was coming.
All right, who's to blame?
Yeah.
For the Rams' offense not clicking so far. They lost to the 49ers 24-9. It could be Big Butt of the Week award winner Nick Bosa for this last week, but the Rams' offense has not looked great all season long so far. So you took a little bit closer look at that game. I don't know if you looked at the film for this one or not. What's going on? Matthew Stafford had that elbow injury. He doesn't look the same. Allen Robinson's like not even part of the offense.
Allen Robinson's not the same guy anymore.
What happened?
You know, he's solid, but Allen Robinson lost a gear. There's no doubt about that.
In the offseason, I thought he was okay last year.
Well, yeah, he was okay. I mean, you know, again, I don't know if he was really ever blowing by anybody,
sure,
you know, in Chicago the last year or two or anything of that nature. But again, you know, you get to the point of your career where, okay, yeah, you get up there here. We're getting to this point. What year is this for Allen Robinson? 9?
I'm looking right now, yeah.
Yeah, let me know. I'm going to say it's 8, 9, maybe 10. I mean, we're
9.
Right. 9.
You're 9.
Okay. So,
yeah, last year was not a good year for him. It was 2 years. Yeah, he's 2 years removed from his last 1,000-yard season. He only played 11 games last year.
Right.
So maybe
he's
only 29. Only 29 years old, Pete knows.
Yeah, it's all right. It's wear and tear on your body, and you know you can only run low 4.4s for so long.
Yeah.
And so that and again, not to say that he can't be effective, but I don't know if he's the guy that you want to be your clear-cut number 2, right? The problem with their offense, I think, you know, Troy Aikman said it. You know, you've already said it in this podcast. You've heard me try to say this to people. That's why I don't think the Rams are even a chance of repeating as a Super Bowl. They lost more players than we think. Their left tackle is an issue worth retiring. Their all-line is not as good. Okay, so that's an issue. They can't run the ball. And McVay is a master, and I think if we went back last year and all their big plays and stats, they're like one of the number 1 play action teams in football. That's really where he draws up his big plays and really screws you over. And so that, and then coupled with, really, there's no receiver on the football team that scares a defense. So you can kind of play downhill the whole time.
Outside of Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, right, Cooper Kupp. And he's even him, as good as he is, he's not the guy you're going, oh, we're worried about him 70 yards over the top all the time, right? I mean, he's capable of beating you deep, but that's not his bread and butter. His bread and butter is like great release, great route running, you know, burst out of the break, catch a 15-yard, you know, out route or post corner route or something like that, right?
They've lost that big playability, you're saying.
They've lost the big playability because, yeah, there's no Van Jefferson, who did supply a little take the top off the defense. And Odell, despite stats or whatever, that was the best thing Odell did, is because people started to go, whoa, he can run by anybody on our team. So we got to get some people back to help him, and that helped out Cooper Kupp and the rest of the offense. So there's a number of things there. And to couple that is, you know, McVay's offense is real good. I don't think it's like Shanahan good or Andy Reid good as far as just pure creativity. I think McVay is an awesome at sequencing of plays and checks and balances kind of offensive coordinator. Oh, wait, you're overplaying this? I have this play. Oh, we've done this play a few times. Okay, well, I got a play that looks just like it, and now we do this off of it. And they can't get in a rhythm or anything to go like, wait, this is what we're good at, so now we can get you to overplay it, right? Like in the old days, you used to hear me say, oh, inside zone, and then speed sweep, inside zone, and speed sweep. And he would play those off of each other. And you would go, damn, you're good at the inside zone, and they're good at the speed sweep. And now he's got a play action and a play action screen off of it and all these plays off of it to where you go, okay, so if you overplay any one aspect, he's got a list of plays to go off of it with. They don't have anything like that in their bread and butter, so now they become drop-back pass offense with a shitty pass protection offensive line and, you know, a pass scheme that's good, but I don't like go, oh, wow, it's the most creative thing or they do the most different things I've ever seen in my life. And then you add that with lack of firepower at the position, that lends itself to a lot of 4-yard throws over the middle to Cooper Kupp, and that's what we saw the other night.
Yeah, and, I mean, it's not fun to watch because I drafted Allen Robinson in my fantasy league,
right.
And that has not been enjoyable because he's been on the field. That's the crazy thing. He's been on the field a ton, too. It's not like he's not playing, running a lot of routes. So now that the odds are shifting, according to our friends over at BetMGM in the NFC West, everyone is 2-2 in this division right now. How about that? It's like we're right back to where we started in this division. So the odds last week compared to this week, if you're watching on YouTube or on Peacock right now, they've shifted. The Rams were the odds-on favorite last week. Now they have the same odds as the 49ers. They're both plus 120. Cardinals have actually gotten a little worse at plus 650, and the Seahawks have gotten better, but they're still there at plus 2,500, 2,500. So, I mean, at this point, how can you not, after watching that game yesterday and how good the 49ers defense is, and you figure Jimmy Garoppolo will get in rhythm, and, I mean, they made the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. We're a throw away from winning it.
Right.
It's like, how are the
Say
49ers
it.
not the favorite?
Exactly. It's not even close. I can just tell you right now. It's not even close. I don't give a shit what the records are. I don't care if the 49ers, everybody goes to 3-2 and the 49ers go to 2-3 next week. The 49ers are the best team in that division, period. It will show itself as the year goes along. I mean, they're playing there again the other night with what? Missing a guard, missing a tackle, missing Trent Williams, Eric Armstead's out of the game, Javon Kinlaw. I mean, it just doesn't even matter. It doesn't. You still go. What's that? Say that, Pete. Right, and lost Trent Williams backup too. Right, I know. So, they're not even at full strength. Running backs hurt, and it's clear. So, yeah, it's only Jimmy Garoppolo's second start. And as we saw, he was iffy in that game once again, where it shouldn't have been 17-9 in the third quarter. I'm sitting there at home going, oh, my gosh, they're going to have to sweat this out. They're kicking the crap out of the Rams, like you're saying.
Yeah.
You're watching the game. Everything in your eye is going, one team is far more advanced and better than the other, but it's 17-9. How is that possible? It's possible because there was 5 or 6 pass plays in the first half that should have been huge gains that weren't because of Jimmy Garoppolo. Plain and simple. So that's the struggle of them, but he will get better, I hope, and I just think they're clearly the best team in that division.
Yeah, I'm surprised that plus 120. We got to get a representative here from BetMGM. To explain himself, right?
Well, I know.
They must have the reasons. They're smart. Vegas is always smart.
Yeah.
Usually smarter than us.
Right.
But it does seem pretty clear right now.
It's probably the Jimmy Garoppolo effect.
Or you think that the Rams will get their rhythm going?
I think there's probably of that, too. People think the Rams will start to get this going, which, again, I think it'll get better, and especially if they get an OBJ back. But I don't think it's going to get anywhere near to where it was last year. I would be really surprised by that. There's flaws within the Rams roster this year that were not there last year, and it's going to be a difference for them to where, my thoughts. I think they're a team that barely gets in the playoffs type of football team when all said and done this year.
I'll tell you what, if it goes downhill for the Rams, though, as a Lions fan, not the worst thing ever. We still get that first-round pick this year.
Oh.
And so, and they got Stafford got his Super Bowl. I love that. I was rooting for him last year.
Across the board here.
Now, if they have a down year and Stafford just has to say, you know what, I'm going to not play the last 10 games, that's okay with me.
All right, and then let's just squash one other thing here while we're on this subject, okay? And that would be stop. I hear the conversation of, is Jared Goff better than Matthew Stafford? It's become a thing on social media. I mean, literally had people talking about it to me yesterday morning in the building.
Okay, I'll say this.
Yes.
So I think last year Stafford got his due, as he should have.
Right.
I've always been a big-time proponent. He's been the best player that the Lions have had the last decade.
Right.
I've always liked him, so I think he got his due.
Right.
I think maybe the argument would be that right now Jared Goff is playing better than Matthew Stafford.
Well, I mean, statistically, sure.
Not even that. Stafford's hurt. He's got an elbow injury. I don't know that he looks 100%.
No, I don't.
Lions were playing down their running back to their 2 top wide receivers last week. Of course, they were playing the Seahawks.
I know. This is a horrible defense, you know, just like their defense is. So they're in these games where it gets to be a shootout and get whatever else, but we forget he threw a pick 6 that put him down by 16 and threw a pick 6 in week 1 against the Eagles, right? And don't
worry about that.
I know. That's what it does, and then it doesn't really matter about the Vikings game they lost. That just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's just because it doesn't fit the narrative right now. It's cool to say Jared Goff might be better than the guy who won the Super Bowl. Get out of here with that. And I'm gonna say this, and I don't think I'm crazy. I never even thought about it, and I'm gonna say it out loud right now. The Lions' offense has more talent than the Rams.
Whoa.
Yeah. What? Tight end, I'm taking T.J. Hawkinson. Running back, I'm taking DeAndre Swift. Okay, I'll give them Cooper Kupp. Rest of the receiving crew, I'm taking the Lions.
And we
offensive line?
Yeah.
Right. We haven't even gotten there. You were about to say we haven't even talked about it. It's not even close. Lions have one of the best offensive lines in football.
Jamison Williams is going to play here in a couple weeks, probably.
So you got him coming up, too, with 3 rockets up his ass. So I hope that puts it into perspective a little bit more.
Yeah.
All right. And there's Matt Stafford with no running game, horrible pass protection, and Allen Robinson, who runs 4.6, and Cooper Kupp. That's all he's got right now. That's a tough way to live. So I just, again, man, gosh, Cooper Rush and Jared Goff conversation this week make my head blow up.
A bonus rant. BetMGM, I hope you're happy. The action never stops at BetMGM. Sign up now using the bonus code SIMS. Your first wager risk-free, up to $1,000, Kris.
So, Ahmed, so say you bet 100 on the Seahawks to win the NFC.
What?
If you win, you'll get $2,500.
Wow. Okay.
You also have to be crazy to bet on the Rams to win the NFC West.
Yeah.
But if you lose, you'll still get $100 worth of free bets.
No risk. Simply download the BetMGM app today or go to BetMGM.com. Enter bonus code SIMS, 2 M's, to make your first wager risk-free up to $1,000. All right, now, final little deal of the day, and then we'll get to the punt of the day. We gotta rip through this because we got plays to do on social media as well.
Right.
So we got a lot to still do here that I hope you are following Kris Sims on Twitter so you can see those. I want to get a little bit on Zach Wilson and Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, let's do it.
First time we saw Zach Wilson this year. First time we've ever seen Kenny Pickett in a regular season football game. So Zach Wilson, first of all, brought his Jets back. Made some big-time throws, as you noted. You've always been a lover of Zach Wilson.
I am. I'm a lover of his talent and the way he throws the football.
Did your love grow when watching the film of him this game?
It did. I don't know how it could not. You know, he went through a rough patch there late in the second quarter, early third quarter, where he made some questionable decisions and got a little aggressive throwing the football where you're like, okay, whoa, reel it in. But, you know, the one thing to me that is not arguable is the fact that his talent and his arm talent pop off the screen. There's no doubt about that in my mind. You know, his quickness in his release, the ball flies through the film. It's up there with the elite arms in the sport, where you got to go, whoa, wait, hold on, let me slow that down. Whoa, that was the ball that went through the screen there. And so it's that. And the way he can get out of his hands is real there too. You know, his ability, his twitchiness as an athlete kept them out of some bad situations in the game. You know, I think we said this on Monday because I caught a few of these plays when we were, you know, trying to watch everything on Sunday where there was a handful of plays where I go, well, if this is any other quarterback in the Jets, it's 3rd and 24 because they got sacked. But he got out of it, threw it away, turned the corner, maybe ran for a few yards. So all that was really good. You know, they didn't protect him all that great early on, but they got better as the game went on. And then I think the encouraging thing is the plays I see called, the degree of difficulty of throws he's asked to make, all tell me that they trust him and that they believe in his talent. And I think that's the thing I like. And then, of course, you know, you're down 20-10, and some of that is because of, you know, a stupid interception going into score at the end of the first half where, in all honesty, Elijah Moore screwed him over and stopped running his right. He's supposed to run the clear out, and he kind of stopped and let the corner now turn back and go, wait, what's going on? And he was like, whoa, the guy's running a deep crosser right at me, and the quarterback's staring right over here. I'm going to go pick that off. So Elijah Moore screwed him over there. The picks, or not pick six, I keep wanting to say it's a pick six, but it got him down to like the 5-yard line, right? I love the delivery. He tries to throw a sidearm ball, and underneath a guy that's jumping in his face, he just throws it too hard and a little high, and it goes off the defender's, his receiver's hands and popped in the air, interception. All right? And I'm blaming him. You know, again, if you're going to make that throw and do that, it's cool, but, you know, you better be on the money there, right? But then after that, you know, it was one great throw after another, you know, in between, you know, zoning linebackers, tight man coverage, deep cross, like, you know, not much room for error. Boom, on the money. Whoa, I threw the deep cross against this look a few plays ago. Here's the same play again, and they're kind of playing the same coverage. Oh, but they kind of covered it. I didn't lock onto it. I get to the second guy and throw a deep in cut to the right. I mean, it was just stuff like that. 20-yard out routes on third down and just go, hey, just stand in there and throw a 20-yard out route. Laser on the money in the tight man coverage. That, you know me, I love that stuff because I know the offense will deliver for him. When you start to show you can do that type of stuff, you scare defenses, and you embolden the offensive coordinator to start going, whoa, I like this play. Let's draw this play up. I've never drawn this play. Whoa, but my quarterback can do it. And that's a great advantage talented quarterbacks like him have.
I don't think many people would disagree or argue with the fact that the Jets could do more with Zach Wilson than they could with Joe Flacco before. Yeah. What about on the other side of the ball? Could the Steelers do more, or did they do more with Kenny Pickett than they did previously with Mitchell Trubisky?
I think they can. I do think they can. But the baseline is Kenny Pickett's just a better natural quarterback. I think that's the thing that just comes to me more than anything. Trubisky, you know, he's a good athlete with some good physical skills, but I don't think he's a quarterback. That would be the kind of the way I put it. And let me just try to explain that the best I can here. Pickett's got a great natural feel. He's a great thrower, and he's got every club in the bag, right? Like a golfer. I mean, he can, you know, throw a quick little touch pass. He can flick, you know, a ball when, you know, it's tight coverage, and he's kind of in the pocket under pressure and get it there. If things are as is and perfect, he's a machine pretty much consistently throwing a perfect spiral, hitting the target that way. He's got a great feel for the things we talk about with Trubisky at times where, you know, one, the precision, the timing, rhythm's all better, but a great feel of like, oh, wait, all right, there's a little pressure, but this look is really good. I'm going to have my guy. Let me just make a step and move here so I can pat the ball one more time or be off the back foot and throw the ball and get the big completion. Where Trubisky, I don't know if he's going to do that. Or, you know, or the opposite of just like, hey, wait, he's open right now. Let me get it to him so he can get going that way. You know, he's got great feel that way. That compared to Trubisky, he has a different talent about him. And I think they can be, back to my favorite word, surgical with him at quarterback.
Use surgicality.
He can show consistent surgicality to, I think, what ultimately can get them what they want, right? Yeah. Weapons at receiver, we know they can beat man-to-man coverage. Nobody really wants to play them aggressive right now because everyone goes, wait, we know these guys can beat us deep, and they can't run the football. But, man, the one thing I'm excited to see is their approach with him, because I think he could be a guy where you go, let's just get in the shotgun and let him make decisions and dice people up that way, and we'll start to get teams to creep up like we talk about with the Chiefs and teams playing them. And now, oh, hey, it's one-on-one with Chase Claypool. Oh, it's one-on-one with Deontay Johnson.
Then you take your chance.
Then you get to take your shots out of that kind of realm. I think they have a possibility to maybe play that way with him.
I wonder if we'll scheme it up. You haven't been real happy with what you've seen schematically from the Steelers throughout the years, and so that'll be the question with them.
Yes, it will be. It's you know, it's not an offense that makes me say wow, but there's enough there, and I think that with the talent. And, you know, I think this guy throwing the ball, making the decisions, I just think that he's a better pure passer and just a better natural overall quarterback. Is there going to be some bumps? Sure.
Right.
I mean, just like we saw. His first interception was bad. And that's not his M.O. Stand back there and throw a 50-yard laser down the field. That's not what he is, right? His is like, no, I've picked you apart. Now I got to match up the way I want. I can put the ball in a spot where you can go get it down the football field. Not, I'm going to stand flat-footed in my own 45 and be Josh Allen or Mahomes and uncork something, and we all go, whoa. That's not what he is.
If he can't do that, will he ever be a top 10 quarterback in your mind?
Yes, he can.
He could still be.
You don't have to be that guy. You can be in the, you know, top 10. And like Matt Ryan, I don't know if he was ever that guy. In his prime, he was certainly a top 10 quarterback. You know, there's some other guys that go along that conversation too. So, yeah, but I was impressed with him. The interception that lost the game, I'm not counting the Hail Mary at the end. Yeah, just, you know, that's one where I think if he plays a little bit more, of course he doesn't throw that. I think if he's playing a little bit more and has a little bit more feel, the pocket was pretty good. He didn't need the fade back. And he had Deontay Johnson. They were having like a little corner post down the middle, where I feel like if he plays a little bit more, he probably steps up in the pocket and goes, oh, yeah, I'm going to let this go. And maybe we win the game right here. But, again, he's being conservative. It's first time out there. It's not easy what he was doing. And all in all, I think there was really a lot of positives to what he did on the football field.
He gets to go against that Buffalo Bills defense coming up this week, so that'll be interesting to see. While you were watching all the quarterbacks, Pete was watching the punters. There were 118 punts. Pete says he watched all of them. He watched all of them, reviewed the tape, and he's got a punter of the week and a flyer of the week, as it used to be called gunner.
Yeah.
Politically incorrect now. Flyer of the week. So punter of the week first, Bears punter Trenton Gill. 5 punts. 1 was inside the 5.
Yeah.
2 more inside the 20. For the Bears, for them to win games, they're going to need Trenton Gill to continue to step up.
I don't think there's any doubt. They're playing a game of field position, run the football, defense don't let up big plays, and we're going to kind of wait for you to make a mistake. That's kind of what they do as a football team right now. It's never going to be pretty. It's like the Giants. Yeah, it's not going to be pretty, that's for sure. But the Giants also kind of play that way too. They were like, hey, we could play that ugly, we can run the ball, punt the ball down in your area and play that game too. I think they're very comfortable that way, and that's kind of what you had in that matchup that was one of the uglier games.
Yeah, they go, you're going to punt to us, we can punt to you.
We can punt
Just
too,
do it
and
on first
we
down.
can kick longer field goals than you, and you'll lose because of that.
Trenton Gill, 51.8 was the average net, second best of the week. So Trenton Gill, congratulations. You got the Pete Punt Award. The flyer of the week, that goes to the Vikings corner, Kris Boyd. Pete notes here, forced a fair catch on a punt. Later, he overran a punt, but didn't give up on the play. Came back to force a fumble and recover it. Led to a field goal that put the Vikings up 16-7. See, I love that. These are these plays that sometimes you don't think about. Special teams plays. The funny thing is, some people are like, I don't want to talk about kickers or punters or those games. That could be the whole game, right? It could be the whole game.
It's a huge part of the game. I mean, again, you can look at the great teams in the history of the sport, and they usually were always very good in that department. I mean, whether it's the Patriots always having a good kicking game, right? You know, Slater running down and their punter always being pretty good, and them playing the field position game that way. You know, it's a game about controlling territory on a field, and that's where the punter comes in very handy. And it's a weapon for a lot of teams out there.
Yep. All right. Final thing before we go.
We have one more thing.
Yeah, can you believe it? All 10 seasons of Columbo can be streamed on Peacock.
Wow.
I'm a company man. I didn't even know it.
Look at you. We didn't even know we had Columbo on Peacock until we started talking about this the other day.
I had no clue.
Man, look at him. You're right.
I think that actor's passed away, unfortunately.
I think you're right.
I'm not totally sure. I don't know his name.
I want to say you are too. Yeah.
I loved him. He was great as Columbo. Peter Falk. Peter Falk has passed away.
Hair was always kind of messy. You're always like, is he combing it or is he going for that look? I
love that. That's what people ask about you now. Is he going for that look? Is he trying to grow it out? And it's like, yeah.
Well, it's combed. I mean, they should know that. This shit is like perfectly combed.
Yeah. It's just hair questions. But
maybe I should ask the homies that. Do they like my Johnny traditional part hairstyle now? Or did they like my shaved sides bullshit I had, whatever?
We'll need a picture, side by side, and then a poll below that as we thread it.
I'll ask. Like I told you, I've been very heavily influenced by the women in my life.
All right, so that's it. We did it. Wow.
We did it, baby.
Meaty. We told you.
2 hours?
Knowledge dense. I don't think it was 2 hours, but hour 45.
Hour 45. Why do you like shrug your heads like it's like what?
I try to keep it to 130 to 140.
Yeah, so you have a limit in your head that you're hamstringing us to here?
I feel like not hamstringing.
Yes.
I just try to, get the best in the shortest amount of time. I feel like we respect the homies' time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Kristen gets hungry. And Pete gets hungry. And I get hungry.
Kristen's the only one I care about. The hell with the rest of you, okay?
Yeah. Well done, though.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Appreciate it. Put in the work. It's always good. And it's always good sitting here talking to you. Thanks for kind of, extrapolating. Is that the word?
I think extrapolating or extracting.
Extracting the info out of me.
But that can be like surgicality.
What a good treasure hunter you are.
Yeah.
The treasure's in this
treasure's in there.
Blonde brain from New Jersey. Way to find it. We got through it and did it. All right, everybody. We'll see you Thursday. We got the Picks podcast with Florio. I mean, right now, it's just listen to my information and pick tidbits. Don't listen to my picks of the game. It's hard enough picking the game straight up, let alone pick best bets and lines and all that. I don't think I've ever had the struggles I've had right now.
I don't even try
the last 2 weeks. I mean, I'm happy that I went 7-9, and I do think you listen tomorrow. I'm going to give you some tidbits about things to watch out for in the game. That's what I always get from my friends is like, oh, you said this one thing, and that's why I bet on them.
Yeah.
And even though you picked the other team, I didn't like that part of it.
Or maybe just listen to the pod for entertainment purposes only.
Maybe do that too. We do swear a lot, and we have a lot of fun, me and Florio. So, all right, check that out on Thursday. Everybody enjoy the rest of your week. Big weekend of football. Sunday night football, Bengals, Ravens. I'm excited to see that. That could be awesome or a shit show. I don't know where that goes, really. That could be like 45 to 42. It could be 14-10. I'm not really sure where it goes. Either way, Ahmed, you the man. Homies, be good. Clap it up.
Clap it up.
Thanks for watching, homies. Hit subscribe to see all my Unbuttoned videos. You get to see me, Ahmed Fareed, all the big player breakdowns, game breakdowns, player interviews, and my film analysis. So please subscribe. Kris Sims, Unbuttoned. Peace out.